let's start with a threat. The threat is that leaders do not get any more feedback. And by not having a feedback, thinking all they're doing is right and perfect. And this threat is increasing the more layers you have in your organization. So once you are CEO of a big company, typically no one is telling you anymore what you have done wrong. And so step by step, you are decreasing in your performance. Because
but I think that HR has a very big role in that. Huh? When you look at a management board, let's say meeting room, I always jokingly say that HR is the only person in the room who doesn't want to be in the seat of the CEO. So that gives you a very special position to challenge the others in the room, because you are not in competition with any of them.
You are the king's jester. You are the one who can say things others cannot. Yeah.
And if people believe that you're telling it to them, not because you have a personal agenda, because you want a salary increase or whatever, but you do it to make the organization and the people sitting next to you better, it works.
In fact, both of us, you as HR and me as an external consultant, we are both in the same role in this case. We are typically the ones who are the first choice to give a feedback to help leaders through feedback to identify wrong paths they're going and helping them to identify them and to go back on the right path. And it's so important, you know. And there are other tools like 360, like feedback sessions, whatever, where what you can use for identifying topics to improve. Because I'm still fully clear. If we see dysfunctionalities in leadership, it comes of a lack of feedback. That's the first topic and the most important.
But it's important to create a culture within an organization that people feel comfortable to give feedback.
Correct.
To give you a personal example, when I started with my first job, I gave honest feedback to my manager, and this came back to me in my end of year appraisal, and not in a positive way.
Really?
Yes. And it has taken me a couple of years to sort of get over that. Because always I thought, if I'm going to say this, then it will come back to me. So every leading position I've taken ever since, I've worked on a culture of trust, and where I asked my team, please give me feedback. And I always made sure that they could, that it would never be held against them. And of course, this is something you have to work on. It doesn't work from day one, that people immediately tell you, you did that or that wrong. But now I see people trust me and they give the feedback.
So I'm 100% clear about that. A good feedback culture is the fundament, not just for a performance culture of the overall organization, but also for the performance of the boss. So that's for sure. And we also know that implementing a feedback culture is not as easy as we are always talking, just by saying it is there. And it starts, of course, as you said, that the leaders are understanding that the feedback is a gift. First, it's a gift. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that the feedback is right. Yeah, you can also give gifts which are not good. Yeah, and you don't like, and which are even wrong. Yeah. But first, it's a gift. As long as you see a feedback as a chance for improvement, and then digesting it and seeing if it's okay or not, because it's just a view of someone other. It can be a wrong view. It can be that the guy who gave a feedback is the wrong guy and not you. Yeah. So feedback doesn't mean it's right what the people are saying, but it's a chance and an opportunity for improvement.
And in the Netherlands, we say feedback is a gift. And you, for the self, decide whether you unwrap the gift or not.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think that when you're on a, let's say, a similar hierarchical level, no, I should say it differently. When there is a difference in the hierarchy, I feel that people take a bit longer before they give the feedback to their superior. And that usually is for me also a signal that because they've thought about it, it's more often a true feedback than perhaps in other situations.
So we are all in our reality bubble, yeah. And the chance with the feedback is that we are aligning our reality bubbles, and that's what creates performance.
And what I also saw in the past is that people give feedback about everything except for the one topic which is the difficult topic. So the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
But as I said, I think it takes trust and it takes time before you come to a true feedback culture. Yeah.
What are you doing in AMRO for improving this feedback culture?
This is a really high on the agenda topic for the bank. So we introduced a couple of months ago the feedback challenge, and this is something that HR head office developed, and it's a program for a couple of weeks where people get taught how to provide feedback. And this, of course, sounds a bit like everybody can give feedback, but it's usually the way you bring it is already a good indicator whether it will be accepted or not. If I say, George, I really think you shouldn't do this or this, then you're not so likely to accept it unless I say, oh, what I noticed is last time I heard you doing this and that. So the way people bring the message, that we're working on, but also to filter out, let's say, personal feelings with it. So try to give a sort of as factual feedback as possible. And what you see is that people, when they start this challenge, it takes about 8 weeks, and every week there is, let's say, 10 or 15 minutes of practicing in the team. People are a bit funny about it. Feedback challenge, I know how to give feedback, and will this impact my beurteilung? That's of course always the question that comes up. But once they're in it, we try to focus on that feedback has two sides, because I think feedback is often focused at how to make something better, which is negative. But feedback can also be, I think, the way you are doing this and this is really good. So by showing those two options, I think we provide people with a bigger toolbox in daily working life.
True.
And as a last remark, especially now with online communication, we've been fully online as a bank now for, 8 weeks or so. You need sometimes to give feedback online and straight away, because you don't see each other in the cafe kuche, or you need to fix it now, because otherwise the project stops. So the need for it becomes bigger.
True.